And we're live. So hello everyone from whoever stalks me on YouTube. So it's been a month and a half, I know. And these are some updates that I want to show you. So for those who constantly supervise me on YouTube, whether you are my FBI agent or whoever, I have looked into why no one has decided to do acid mine drainage into supplementary cementitious material, at least not publicly, is because of the transportation cost. No one knows exactly how much that cost per mile per ton would be, and then how much profit you will make, and then how much distance you have to go from the contamination site. So what I did was try and figure that out. So I have the GitHub code where you can see exactly where my thought process was in all this. But basically, I went through some EPA files, Environmental Protection Agency, to look for things related to acid mine drainage, and I did get something. Actually, sewage sludge is quite interesting since they also kind of behave similar to what an acid mine drainage site would do, which is all right, if you have contamination, let's take it somewhere, maybe take it to a treatment site. Most likely the treatment site is right next to the river. But at least in sewage sludge in this case, well, you have to put it in a truck at least in those cases and then take it somewhere for to get the water purified. And then with that waste that has current no economic value, what do you do with it? You can throw it away, you can put it in a sedimentary pond, or you can use it for farmland applications. So I'm not talking about acid mine drains. I'm talking about the slow sewage sludge, since that's where the data comes from. Because you can also see how much it would cost you to buy 1 ton of it, and also how many miles, both one way and round trip, to get there. And then when I did that, I ended up with 18 cents per ton mile, and then that was the missing piece. And then with the help of Portuguese, I figured out that there's a paper that actually has a way to calculate the transportation cost per mile ton, and the missing piece was actually the average market rate price per mile, which is how much you have to actually transport it for 1 mile. So you can see the also the capacity of the trucks, and that's also the way you're getting it transported. But that's also not the cost of the truck, but how much it weighs, how much in tons can it carry. So that's the other missing piece. So this is just basically the writing that eventually got me here. But my mistakes were actually using the cost per ton rather than the cost per mile, which was the initial thing. So once I figured out that it was 18 cents, because with Brazil's method, at least in their original paper, they found it to be 15 cents after you convert it to the Brazilian reais and then convert it back into the US dollar. So it was over there. And then when I used the Brazilian method, actually here it is for York, this is York, Pennsylvania. So I also have the link to the data if you want to take a look at it. And then you can multiply that with the PF times the cost per ton mile, and then the capacity of the truck, and then you multiply it by the distance, and then you eventually get 17 cents, which is actually not that it's very close to the 18 cents. So which is very good. That means this is a very good method. And then for York, Pennsylvania, they also mentioned how much profit they were making. So that's why I wanted to use it. 1360 is the amount of tons they transported in that year. And then the 6 miles was the one-way trip to the treatment site from the contamination source. And yeah, you don't actually make profit. So there comes a point where you realize, okay, the only ways you're actually going to get there is if you have to make the treatment site on the where the contamination is, or not that far away from it. But it cannot be no more than 5 miles. So I guess if we're being generous, maybe a quarter of a mile, half a mile from the contamination source, but ideally it should be on site so that you can generate some profit out of it so that the economics can be favorable. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to try and transport it to the drainage or sewage in general to the place you're going to treat it, at least for drainage, maybe for the kiln site to fire it, or the drying place if you're doing bellow press or geotube, anything. So, and because then you can actually lower the price per ton, because I don't think it'd be fair for the cement industry to pay $73 per short ton. I think if we're being honest, it should be, I don't know, if we're being honest, like 20, $40 a short ton, at least. Because if you know that you're going to save the money in the long run, then yes, they'll pay up. But otherwise, no, that is way too much. Even if, let's say, the iron oxide content is very good for them, it still, if they have to pay more than what they're willing to do, then that's not a good idea for them. But otherwise, yeah. So there's the code. There's all the papers if you want to see it. And yeah, this is just a post where I got to show what I was up to, but other than that, it's good for me. So onwards, I'll update you in someday. All right. Bye.